I chose success over love and lost everything. I never believed that one decision could destroy everything I had built. Not my company, not my reputation, not even my future. But love? Yeah, I almost lost that forever.
My name is Ben, and if you saw me 3 years ago, you'd probably think I had it all figured out. I was living in New York. Fast, loud, ruthless New York. The kind of city that doesn't care if you're tired, broken, or lost. It just keeps moving. And somehow, I kept up. I built a tech startup from scratch. No investors at first, no safety net. Just me, a laptop, and too many sleepless nights. Back then, success meant one thing to me: winning. Winning deals, winning respect, winning the game. But nobody tells you what you lose while you're busy winning. The night everything changed didn't feel special at all. It was raining. Not that soft, romantic kind of rain you see in movies. No, it was aggressive, messy, annoying. The kind that ruins your mood and soaks through your clothes in seconds. I had just walked out of one of the worst meetings of my life. An investor had looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Your idea isn't scalable. Come back when you're serious." Serious. I had given everything I had, and it still wasn't enough.
So I left, with no particular destination in mind. I just wandered around Brooklyn, trying to breathe, trying not to feel like I'd already lost. And then I saw a cafe. Warm light, fogged up windows, a quiet oasis of calm amid the chaos outside. I went inside, and that's where I saw her. She was sitting by the window, completely lost in her world. Not on her phone, not distracted, just focused. She had a sketchbook open, her hand moving lightly across the page like she wasn't even thinking about it. There was something calm about her, and that was strange, because nothing about New York is calm. I don't know why I walked up to her. Maybe I needed a distraction. Maybe I needed something real. Or maybe I just needed her. "Is that your escape?" I asked. "Or your reality?" She looked up slowly. Her eyes met mine, and for a second, everything else disappeared. "Both," she said. That was it. That one word. And somehow I knew my life had just changed. We talked for hours. About everything. About why she moved to New York. About why I refused to give up. About fear. The kind you don't admit to anyone. She told me she was from Rome. New York is chaos, she said. But Rome teaches you how to feel time. I laughed. What does that even mean? She smiled. You'll understand one day. At the time, I didn't, but I would. Her name was Nicole. She was a designer, not the corporate kind, the real kind. The kind that sees beauty where nobody else looks. And for some reason, she saw something in me, too. We started meeting almost every day after that. Coffee turned into dinners. Dinners turned into long walks. Long walks turned into something deeper, something real. Nicole didn't care about my business. And honestly, that's why I fell for her. Everyone else saw numbers, growth, potential profit. She saw me. "You're always running," she told me one night as we sat on my apartment balcony, watching the city lights. "That's how you win," I said. She shook her head. "No, that's how you forget why you started." I remember laughing. God, I wish I hadn't. A year passed faster than I expected. We moved in together. My company finally started gaining traction. Small wins at first, then bigger ones. Investors started calling me back.
The same people who once doubted me. Funny how that works. Life was good. No, it was perfect. At least, that's what I thought. And then Mark showed up. I met him at a networking event in Manhattan. You know the type. Expensive suits, fake smiles, people pretending to care while calculating your value in their heads. Mark stood out, not because he was loud, but because he wasn't. He watched, listened. And when he finally spoke to me, it felt intentional. "Ben," he said, shaking my hand firmly, "you're building something big." I nodded, slightly surprised. "Trying to?" He leaned in just a little. "But you're thinking too small." That hit me, because part of me knew he might be right. Within weeks, Mark became part of my life. Business meetings, strategy sessions, late-night calls. He was sharp, focused, always one step ahead. Exactly the kind of partner I thought I needed. Nicole didn't trust him, not even a little. "I don't like him," she said one evening. "Why?" I asked. She hesitated. "I don't know, I just feel it." I sighed. "He's helping us grow." She looked at me, serious. "Just be careful, Ben." I smiled. "I've got this." That was the moment everything started to fall apart. I just didn't know it yet. Because success doesn't destroy you overnight. It happens slowly, quietly, one decision at a time. I started working more, then even more. Meetings replaced dinners. Calls replaced conversations. And Nicole? She started disappearing from my world. Not physically, but emotionally. The worst part? I didn't notice, not right away, until someone else did. Her name was Lily, and the night she confronted me was the first crack in everything I thought was unbreakable. She looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Do you even realize you're losing her?" I laughed. At least, I tried to. "What are you talking about?" But deep down, something didn't feel right. Because the truth is, I hadn't seen Nicole smile in weeks, and that was just the beginning. "Do you even realize you're losing her?" Lily's words didn't just stay in my head. They echoed. Again, and again, and again. I tried to ignore it. That's what people like me do best. We ignore anything that doesn't fit into our plans. And at that moment, my plan was simple. Grow the company. Close the next deal. Prove everyone wrong. Love? That could wait. At least, that's what I told myself. But something had already changed. I felt it that same night when I got home. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. No music, no sketching sounds, no Nicole humming softly like she always did when she was focused. Just silence. I found her on the balcony, sitting alone, looking out at the city like she didn't belong to it anymore. "Hey," I said, trying to sound normal. She didn't turn immediately. "Do you ever feel like this city is swallowing you?" she asked. That caught me off guard. "What do you mean?" She finally looked at me. Her eyes, they weren't the same. "You used to look at this view like it meant something," she said. "Now, you look at it like it's just another step." I frowned. "That's not fair." "No?" she asked softly. And suddenly, I didn't have an answer. "I'm doing this for us," I said, repeating the same line I had used 100 times before. She smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. That's what scares me. We didn't argue that night, and somehow that made it worse.
Because silence doesn't fix anything. It just hides the damage. Days turned into weeks, and the distance between us kept growing. Not because we stopped loving each other, but because we stopped showing it. Mark, on the other hand, was everywhere. Calls at midnight, meetings early in the morning, new deals, bigger risks, faster growth. Speed is everything, he kept saying, and I believed him.
One night, during a strategy session, he leaned back in his chair and said, "We're close to something huge, Ben, but we need to push harder." "I'm already pushing," I replied. "Not enough," he said calmly. "You're still hesitating." "Hesitating about what?" He looked straight at me. "Control." I didn't like that word, not from him.
"What are you suggesting?" I asked carefully. He smiled slightly. "I'm suggesting we restructure, bring in bigger investors, expand internationally. That means giving up shares. That means becoming unstoppable," he corrected. It sounded tempting, too tempting, and that's what made it dangerous.
When I told Nicole about it, she went quiet. "Say something," I insisted. She took a deep breath. "Do you trust him?" "Yes," I said immediately. Too quickly. She noticed. "Ben," she said gently, "you don't even trust yourself anymore." That hit harder than I expected. "What is that supposed to mean?" "It means," she said, trying to stay calm, "you're making decisions you wouldn't have made a year ago. That's called growth." "No," she shook her head. "That's called changing." I felt anger rising. "People change, Nicole. That's life." "Yes," she said quietly, "but not always for the better." That was our first real fight. Not loud, not explosive, but real. And something broke that night. I could feel it. After that, things got worse. I started coming home later. Sometimes not at all. Sleeping at the office became normal. Calls replaced conversations. Messages replaced moments. And Nicole, she stopped trying. That scared me more than any argument ever could. Because when someone stops fighting for you, it means they're already letting go. One evening, I walked into the apartment and saw something that made my chest tighten. Her suitcase, half packed. "What is this?" I asked. She didn't look surprised. "I'm going to Rome," she said. "For how long?" She hesitated. "I don't know." Something inside me snapped. "So that's it?" I said. "You're just leaving?" "I'm not leaving you," she said calmly. "I'm trying not to lose myself." "That's dramatic," I muttered. "Wrong thing to say." "Very wrong." She looked at me like she didn't recognize me anymore. "Do you even hear yourself?" she asked. "I hear someone who's running away instead of dealing with problems. And I hear someone," she replied, "who doesn't even see the problem." Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Final. "I miss you," she said softly. And that broke me more than anything else. Because I didn't know how to answer. "I'm right here," I said. She shook her head. "No, Ben, you're not." That night, we slept in the same bed, but it felt like we were miles apart. The next morning, she was gone. No goodbye, no dramatic scene, just a note on the table. "I need to remember who we were before we became strangers." I read it 3 times, then a 4th, hoping the words would change. They didn't. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something I couldn't control. Not stress, not pressure, fear, because suddenly, winning didn't feel like winning anymore. But the worst part, I still didn't stop. Instead of chasing her, I chose work. Again, because it was easier, because it was familiar, because it didn't hurt as much. Or at least, that's what I thought, until the day everything started collapsing. Because while I was losing Nicole, I was also losing something else. My company. And the person behind it wasn't a competitor, wasn't the market. It was Mark. The strange thing about losing everything is that it doesn't happen all at once. It happens quietly, slowly. And by the time you finally see it, it's already too late. The morning after Nicole left, I woke up feeling empty. Not sad, not angry. Just hollow, like something had been taken from me. And I didn't even know how to get it back. I stood in the kitchen, staring at her note again. Before we became strangers, those words wouldn't leave my head. Because deep down, I knew exactly when that happened. I just chose to ignore it. My phone buzzed. Mark. Of course. Big day, he said the moment I answered. We're finalizing the international deal. Right. The deal. The one that was supposed to change everything. I'll be there, I said. And just like that, I pushed everything else aside. Again, the office felt different that day. I couldn't explain it. Same people, same space, same energy. But something was off. Lily noticed me the second I walked in. You look terrible, she said. Thanks, I replied dryly. She left, didn't she? I froze. How did you? Because I saw it coming, she interrupted.
I ran a hand through my hair. I'll fix it, I said automatically. She looked at me carefully. No, Ben, she said quietly. You won't. That annoyed me. Why does everyone think I can't fix my own life? Because you're not even trying, she replied. Before I could answer, Mark called for the meeting.
The conference room was packed. Investors, lawyers, advisors, everyone smiling, everyone pretending everything was perfect. Mark stood at the head of the table, confident, calm, in control. Today, he began, we take the next step toward global expansion. Applause, nods, approval. I should have felt proud. Instead, I felt uneasy. Documents were passed around. Contracts, agreements, numbers. Everything looked complicated, too complicated. What exactly are we signing? I asked. Mark smiled. Growth, he said. That's not an answer. He leaned closer. It's standard procedure, Ben. We're restructuring ownership to bring in larger capital. Restructuring how? There was a pause. Just a second. But it was enough. Mark, I said slowly. How much control are we giving up? He didn't answer immediately. And that's when I knew. Not giving up, he corrected finally. Redistributing. My chest tightened. That's not what we agreed on. The room got quiet. Too quiet. Mark's expression didn't change. It's what's necessary. I looked around the table. Nobody was surprised. Nobody was questioning it, except me. You did this without me, I said. It wasn't a question. Mark exhaled slowly. Don't make this emotional, Ben. Emotional? I almost laughed. You're changing the entire structure of my company without telling me. Our company, he corrected. No, not anymore. How much? I asked again. He looked me straight in the eyes. Enough to scale. That was the moment everything clicked. This wasn't growth. This was takeover. You planned this, I said quietly. He didn't deny it. I accelerated it, he replied. My hands clenched. You went behind my back. I moved forward while you were distracted. That hit. Hard. Distracted? I repeated. With your personal life, he said calmly. With hesitation. With doubt. I stepped closer to the table. That distraction is the only real thing I had left. I snapped. Mark tilted his head slightly, and yet you still lost it. Silence. Heavy. Brutal. Because he was right. And I hated him for it. You don't get to talk about things you don't understand, I said. I understand everything, he replied coldly. I understand that you're not the person who can take this company to the next level. That was it. You used me, I said. No, he shook his head. I outgrew you. The room exploded into noise. Lawyers stepping in, investors whispering, tension rising. But I couldn't hear any of it because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. I had trusted the wrong person and lost the right one. I walked out, no deal, no signature, no control, just gone. Ben, Lily called, running after me. I didn't stop, not until I reached the elevator. What happened? She asked. He played me, I said flatly. She didn't look surprised. I warned you, she said softly. I know. That hurt more than anything. What are you going to do? She asked. I stared at the floor. For the first time in years, I didn't have an answer because everything I built was slipping through my hands. And the one person who could have grounded me was thousands of miles away. Rome. Nicole. That night, I didn't go home. There was nothing waiting for me there anyway. I stayed in the office, alone. And for the first time, I let myself feel it. The silence, the regret, the truth. I wasn't just losing my company. I had already lost something far more important, and suddenly, nothing else mattered anymore. I picked up my phone, scrolled through my contacts, stopped at her name. Nicole. My finger hovered over the call button. What do you even say when you're the reason everything fell apart? I didn't call, not yet, because for the first time in my life, I was afraid of the answer, but deep down, I knew one thing. If I didn't go after her now, I would lose her forever. And this time, there would be no fixing it.
There are moments in life when you don't think, you don't plan, you don't calculate risks or outcomes. You just move. That night, sitting alone in my office, staring at the city that once felt like everything, I made a decision. For the first time in years, not for business, not for success, not for proving anything to anyone, for her.
I booked a ticket to Rome. No strategy, no backup plan, no idea what I was even going to say. Just one thought repeating in my head, don't lose her too. The flight felt longer than it actually was. Or maybe it was just my mind refusing to stay quiet. Every memory came back, her laugh, her voice, the way she used to look at me, like I was enough. And the worst part? I knew exactly when that look disappeared, when I stopped showing up. Rome greeted me differently than New York ever had. No rush, no noise that demanded your attention, just space to think, to feel, to breathe. Nicole once told me, Rome doesn't chase you, it waits for you to understand it. For the first time, I think I did. I found her studio exactly where she said it would be. A quiet street, old buildings, warm light spilling from the windows. My heart was pounding, which is ridiculous, right? I had pitched in front of rooms full of investors, negotiated million-dollar deals, faced people who could destroy my career with a single decision, and yet, standing in front of that door, I was terrified, because this time, it wasn't about business. It was about losing the one person who ever truly mattered. I knocked. A few seconds passed. Then footsteps. The door opened. Nicole stood there, and for a moment, everything stopped. She looked the same, and completely different at the same time. There was peace in her eyes, but also distance. "Ben?" she said, surprised. I swallowed. "Hi." Not exactly the speech I had planned. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "Good question." "I messed up," I said. "No excuses, no explanations, just the truth." She didn't respond right away. Just studied me, like she was trying to figure out if I was real, or just another version of the man she had already let go. "Can I come in?" I asked quietly. She hesitated, And that hesitation, that hurt more than anything. But then she stepped aside. The studio was exactly how I imagined it. Simple, warm, alive, sketches everywhere, half-finished ideas, pieces of her in every corner. "You look tired," she said. "I am," I admitted. Not from work, not from stress, from losing her. Silence filled the room. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was heavy with everything we hadn't said. "I didn't think you'd come," she said finally. "I didn't think I would either," I replied. That almost made her smile. "Almost? What changed?" she asked. "Everything. You were right," I said. She frowned slightly. "About what?" "About me," I answered. "About losing myself. About choosing the wrong things." She crossed her arms. Not defensive, just careful. "And now?" she asked. "Now I'm trying to understand how I let it happen," I said. She nodded slowly. "That's a start." A start. Not forgiveness. Not hope. Just a start. "I lost the company," I added. That got her attention. "What?" "Not completely," I said, "but I lost control. Mark, I stopped." "It doesn't matter," I finished quietly. She looked at me for a long moment. "You came all this way to tell me that?" she asked. "No," I said. I stepped closer. Not too close, just enough. "I came here because none of that matters anymore if I lose you." There it was, the truth. Raw, unfiltered. Her eyes softened, just a little, but not enough. "Ben," she said gently, "you didn't lose me in one day." I nodded. "I know. It happened slowly," she continued. "In every moment you chose something else over us." Each word landed exactly where it should. "I know," I repeated. "And now you think you can just come here and fix it?" she asked. "No," I said honestly. "I don't think I can fix it." She looked surprised. "But I want to try," I added. Silence again. She walked over to her desk, picked up her sketchbook, the same one. She handed it to me. "Open it," she said. I did, page after page, drawings of us. New York, the cafe, the balcony, moments I didn't even realize she had captured. And then empty pages. "I stopped drawing us," she said quietly. My chest tightened because I didn't know how our story ends anymore. That broke something inside me. "I don't want it to end," I said. She looked at me, really looked at me. "You already ended it once," she said. "That was fair, painfully fair." "I know," I whispered, "and I hate myself for it." That surprised her, because I had never said anything like that before. "I'm not asking you to trust me right now," I continued. "I'm asking for a chance to earn it again." She didn't answer. Instead, she walked to the window. "Do you know why I came back to Rome?" she asked. "Because you needed space," I guessed. She shook her head. "Because here, I remember who I am." That hit deeper than anything else she had said. "And in New York?" I asked quietly. She turned to me. "In New York?" I forgot. Silence. "I don't want to be that person again," she said. "You won't," I said. She gave me a small, sad smile. "You can't promise that." No, I couldn't. And for the first time, I didn't try to. "I can only promise this," I said. She waited. "I won't stop choosing you again." Her eyes filled with something I hadn't seen in a long time. Hope, but also fear. Because hope means you can get hurt again. "I need time," she said finally. I nodded. "I'll stay," I said. She shook her head. "No, not like that." My heart dropped. I need to see if you've really changed, she continued. That made sense. And if I haven't? I asked. She looked at me. Then this is goodbye. That was it. No drama, no shouting, no tears, just truth. And somehow that was harder to face than anything else. Then this is goodbye. Nicole's words didn't sound dramatic. They didn't echo. They didn't shake the room. They just stayed. And somehow, that made them heavier than anything I had ever heard. I nodded because for the first time, I understood something important. Love isn't something you say, it's something you prove. And I had done a terrible job proving it. I won't ask you for anything, I said quietly. No promises, no pressure. She watched me carefully. Just time, I added. She didn't respond, but she didn't ask me to leave either. And for now, that was enough. The next few days in Rome were strange. We weren't together, but we weren't strangers either. Some mornings, we had coffee in silence. Other days, we walked through the city, side by side, but not touching. It felt like we were rebuilding something, not from where we left off, but from nothing. And honestly, that was terrifying, because this time, there were no illusions. Nicole didn't smile at everything I said anymore. She didn't excuse my behavior. She didn't make things easier for me. She made me earn every moment. And I did, not with big gestures, not with words, with presence. I listened, really listened. When she spoke about her work, I didn't check my phone. When she went quiet, I didn't rush to fill the silence. When she pulled away, I didn't chase. I gave her space. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't trying to control anything. And something unexpected happened. I started changing, not because I wanted her back, but because I didn't like the person I had become. One evening, we sat near the river, watching the lights reflect on the water. "Do you miss New York?" I asked. She thought about it. "I miss parts of it," she said. "Which parts?" She looked at me. "You," she answered. That hit deeper than anything else. "Only parts?" I asked with a small smile. She smiled back, just a little. "The version of you that used to exist there," she said. I nodded. "I'm trying to find him again," I said. She didn't respond, but she didn't look away either. And that meant something. A few days later, reality caught up with me. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Emails, messages, notifications. Everything I had ignored in New York was waiting for me. I finally answered one call. "Lily, where the hell are you?" she asked immediately. "In Rome," I said. There was a pause. "You actually went," she said. "Yeah, the Westingfreistadt." Another pause. "Good," she said. That surprised me. "What's happening there?" I asked. Silence. Not a good sign. "Mark is moving fast," she said finally. "Faster than we expected." My chest tightened. "How bad is it?" "He's pushing you out completely," she replied. "Legally, publicly, everywhere." I closed my eyes. Of course he was. "And the team?" I asked. "They're divided," she said. "Some are staying loyal. Others are following him." I exhaled slowly. "So I'm losing everything." "Not everything," Lily said firmly. I looked across the street. Nicole was standing near a small shop, looking at something in the window. Calm, peaceful, real. "Yeah," I said quietly. "Not everything." "Ben," Lily continued, "you need to come back." I didn't answer immediately, because for the first time, I didn't know what mattered more. The company I built, or the person I almost destroyed. "I can't lose this," Lily added. "You won't," I said. "But you will if you don't fight," she replied. She was right. Of course she was right. That was the problem. I ended the call. Nicole walked back toward me. "Work?" she asked. I nodded. "Bad?" "Yeah." She sat down next to me. "You have to go back," she said. I looked at her. "I just got here." "And now you have to choose," she replied softly. That word again. Choose. The same choice I had been making wrong for months. "I don't want to lose you again," I said. She looked at me calmly. "Then don't," she said. "That's not how it works." "No," she agreed. "It's exactly how it works." I frowned. "You think this is about New York or Rome?" she asked. I didn't answer. "It's not," she continued. "It's about who you are when you're there."
That hit hard. "If you go back and become that person again," she said, "then we don't have a future anyway." Silence. "But if you don't go," she added, "you'll regret it. And that regret will destroy us in a different way." She was right. About everything, like always.
"So what do I do?" I asked quietly. She looked at me, not as the man I was, but as the man I could be. "You fight," she said. "For the company?" I asked. She shook her head. "For yourself." And in that moment, everything became clear. This wasn't about business anymore. This wasn't even about Mark. This was about proving that I could be someone worth loving. Not just successful, but present, honest, real. I stood up. "When do you leave?" she asked. "Tonight," I said. She nodded. No tears, no drama, just understanding. I stepped closer. "Will you be here when I come back?" I asked. She didn't answer right away, and that scared me. But then she said, "That depends on who comes back." Fair. Painfully fair. I nodded. "I won't let you down again," I said. She looked at me. "You already did once," she replied softly. I swallowed. "I know," I said, "but not this time." And for the first time, I wasn't saying it to convince her. I was saying it to promise myself. There's a moment right before everything changes, when the world feels completely still. That's how it felt when I landed in New York. Same city, same noise, same chaos, but I wasn't the same. For the first time, I wasn't coming back to win. I was coming back to fight for the right reasons. The office looked different. Not physically, but the energy. It was tense, divided, uncertain. People stopped talking when I walked in. Some looked relieved. Others avoided eye contact. That told me everything I needed to know. Lily walked up to me almost immediately. "You look different," she said. "I am," I replied. She studied me for a second, then nodded. "Good," she said, "because we're out of time." We went straight into the conference room. "This is everything we have," she said, placing a stack of documents in front of me. Contracts, emails, internal approvals, proof. "Mark didn't just push you out," she continued. "He manipulated the board." I flipped through the pages. Every line, every signature, every decision I had trusted him with, used against me. "He moved faster than we thought," Lily said. "But he made mistakes." I looked up. "What kind of mistakes?" She smiled slightly. "The kind that destroy people like him." The meeting was scheduled that same afternoon. Mark wasn't expecting resistance. That was his first mistake. The boardroom filled quickly. Investors, advisors, lawyers, and Mark, sitting at the head of the table, confident, calm, certain he had already won. He smiled when he saw me. "Ben," he said, like nothing had happened, "I didn't expect you back so soon." I took a seat. "Yeah," I said, "neither did I." A few people shifted uncomfortably. Mark leaned back. "Well," he continued, "since you're here, We might as well make this official. Official. Like I was just another detail to finalize. I looked around the room. These were the people who believed in me once. Now they weren't sure. And that was my fault. I let someone else take control, not just of the company, but of who I was. No, I said calmly. We're not making anything official. That got his attention. I think you misunderstand your position, Mark replied. No, I said again. I think you do. Silence. Lily stepped forward. Before this goes any further, she said, there are a few things the board needs to see. Mark's smile faded slightly. What is this? He asked. The truth, I answered. Documents were passed around. Evidence. Clear. Undeniable. Unauthorized decisions. Hidden clauses. Manipulated agreements. Everything he thought no one would notice. Everything he thought I'd never question. The room changed. Whispers. Confusion. Tension.
Mark sat up straight. This is out of context, he said quickly. Standard business practices. No, I interrupted. I leaned forward. This is betrayal. Our eyes locked, and for the first time, he didn't look in control. You built this with me, I said. And then you tried to take it. He scoffed.
I made it bigger, he snapped. You were holding it back. Maybe I was, but not anymore. You didn't make it bigger, I said quietly. You just made it emptier. That hit, because people like Mark, they understand power, but they don't understand meaning. The board started asking questions. Hard questions. The kind you can't charm your way out of. Mark tried. Of course he did, but this time, it didn't work. Because truth doesn't need charisma. It just needs to be seen. An hour later, it was over. Mark was out. Removed. Exposed. Finished. Just like that. The company was mine again. But the strange thing, it didn't feel like victory. Not the way I used to imagine it. Because standing there, in that room, I realized something. I had already won something more important. Or at least, I had a chance to. I didn't stay, not for celebrations, not for congratulations. I walked out. Lily caught up with me. You did it, she said. No, I replied. I pulled out my phone. I'm about to. The flight to Rome felt different this time. Not desperate, not uncertain. Clear, because for the first time, I knew exactly what I was choosing. When I reached her studio, my heart started racing again. Same door, same street, same feeling, but everything was different. I knocked. Footsteps, the door opened. Nicole? She looked at me, searching.
And I realized something in that moment. This wasn't about what I said. It was about who I had become. I went back, I said. She nodded slightly. I know, she replied. That surprised me. How? She gave a small smile. Lily called. Of course she did.
And? Nicole asked. I took a breath. It's done, I said. He's gone. She watched me carefully. And you? She asked. That question, that was the real one. I'm still here, I said. But not the same. Silence. Then she stepped closer. Why did you really come back? She asked. I didn't hesitate. For you. Her eyes didn't soften immediately. Good. Because this wasn't supposed to be easy. But not like before, I added. She waited. Not instead of everything else, I continued, but with everything else? I stepped closer. I'm not choosing between love and ambition anymore, I said. Her expression shifted slightly. I'm choosing who I am while I have both. That was the truth. No perfect words, no rehearsed speech, just truth. She looked at me for a long moment. And then, very quietly, "You stayed this time?" she said. I nodded. "I will," I answered. A pause, a long one, and then she reached for my hand, slowly, carefully.
Like it meant something again. And it did. "I don't trust you completely yet," she said. "I know," I replied. "But I want to," she added. That was enough. More than enough. A few months later, life looks different. The company is smaller, cleaner, stronger in the ways that matter.
Lily runs half the operations now, and she's better at it than I ever was. Mark? Gone. Just a lesson I won't forget. And Nicole? She didn't move back completely. We split our time. New York, Rome, 2 cities, 1 life, 1 choice. Last week, we went back to the cafe in Brooklyn, the same one where everything started. Escape or reality? I asked. She smiled. "Both," she said. Then she looked at me the way she used to. And this time, I didn't look away. If you ask me now what success means, I won't talk about money, or growth, or power. I'll tell you this. Success is not losing the person who saw you before the world did. And if you're lucky enough to get a second chance, don't waste it, because not everyone gets one. Success means nothing if you lose the one who loved you before it.